Now, the Subway Final Word.
Good evening, I'm Albie Oxenrider, and welcome to the Subway Final Word, the show that invites you, the fans, into the conversation. This is the place and the show that will give you the opportunity to get your opinion on TV, on the air, right here every Sunday night. The Steelers win. Both the team and Ben Roethlisberger are downplaying and denying that trade talk. And we're going to get started by introducing you to tonight's three panelists. The afternoon host at 105.9, The X, Mr. Mark Madden. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Albie.
Hello, Dan from the Trib.
I've demanded a trade by the end of this show. Or actually, I'm just kind of planning to demand a trade.
Well, there was also a demand from Rob Rossi, but he denied that. Rob Rossi, Penn's writer, how are you?
Spectacular as always, Albie.
All right, we're ready to get started, and we have some hot topics tonight. The Steelers, they win the game, and then there's those Ben Roethlisberger trade rumors. Those reports have been refuted by the Steelers and Ben. But should the Steelers consider a trade? Also, the aftermath of Tony Dorsett's CTE diagnosis and Evgeny Malkin's goal-scoring drought. Topic one tonight, Ben, of course, denies wanting to trade, and the Steelers say they're not seeking one. But, Mark Madden, what do you think of that? And should the Steelers listen to offers to trade Ben Roethlisberger?
Well, first off, Ian Rappaport, a very respected writer from NFL.com and the NFL Network, didn't just make up this story. I do believe there's smoke. Where there's fire, that'll have to play out in the offseason. Ben denied it. Ben's agent denied it. The Steelers denied it. Of course, they're all going to deny it. Nobody can confirm something like that in the middle of the season. Plus, they have to set the other up to be the bad guy if indeed a move is made. I would say the move is not probable, but not impossible. It may well turn out to be a power play by Ben to get Todd Haley fired, and I really don't think he's going to have to try too hard in that regard. But I think Ben wants change. Ben wants a better team. Ben just wants to be put in a position to succeed, which he clearly is not right now. Will he leave? I don't think so. Is it a possibility? I think maybe, probably not. Do they have to put a better team around Ben for him to be happy? Yes, absolutely.
Rob Rossi.
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't listen to trade offers. If somebody wants to offer you, say, 3 first-round picks for Ben Roethlisberger, I would certainly entertain the idea of moving him. He's definitely on the back end of his career. That said, I would encourage everybody out there to remember the years 1983 through 2003, because those were the 20-some years the Steelers had between them one legitimate quarterback, he being Neil O'Donnell. They made 1 Super Bowl appearance and consistently couldn't win the big game in the AFC portion of the playoffs. More often than not, Roethlisberger's done that. He's arguably the greatest quarterback in the history of the franchise. He's certainly in the discussion at the very least, and you don't give up on those guys just because of a couple of bad seasons. I don't know, even if they got the 3 first-round picks, if I'd feel comfortable with them making those picks.
Dan?
Well, I'm going to steal Mark's gig here and hold up the little signboard here, because this is the amount of veracity that there is to Ian Rappaport's
right, he made it
report
up
today. I don't know if he made it up or what,
he made
Mark.
it up.
All
no
I
problem.
know is that there's zero sourcing to it. There's zero attribution. There's zero anybody coming even close to doing anything other than hotly, vehemently, passionately denying it. I'm much more inclined to believe those people than I am the guy at NFL Network who never comes around this
right,
team.
the guy at the NFL Network who has nothing to gain by reporting this story,
guy has
as opposed to the parties
to
who have
gain.
everything to gain by denying.
This guy had everything to gain from putting out that report this morning, right before all their pregame shows come on, conveniently on a Sunday, and magically on a Sunday where nobody's available for comment on Sunday mornings, but somehow he turns this out just before the pregame shows come on. I don't buy any aspect of it whatsoever. Now, if you want to get into whether or not this team can or should trade Ben Roethlisberger, that's a separate debate from the veracity of the report. I don't think the Steelers have any business whatsoever considering or entertaining any kind of offers for Ben Roethlisberger. He's a franchise quarterback. He belongs in Pittsburgh, and he wants to stay in Pittsburgh.
All right, a reminder to keep the comments coming. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word, on Facebook at The Final Word. And should the Steelers consider trading Ben, here's one tweet about that. Trade Big Ben and draft A.J. McCarron. He has the talent to become a franchise quarterback from Tunstall 18. Thank you for the tweet. Now to the serious subject of CTE, the degenerative brain disease with which Tony Dorsett has been diagnosed. Topic 2, will Tony Dorsett's revelation of CTE symptoms have an impact on younger players? Do these current players pay attention to what's going on with these older retired players? Dan, what do you think?
Well, Tony Dorsett obviously isn't an exception. There are a lot of cases like this. It's unfortunate. You hear more and more of them. If there's any positive that comes out of this, it's that other alumni or former NFL players are more comfortable now coming to the forefront and talking about it, getting more accurately diagnosed. We saw the concussion lawsuit that the former players filed with the NFL. Hopefully that has an impact that goes beyond the dollars that were out, which weren't nearly enough. Yeah, you want it to have an impact. I don't know that it's the players, though, that you need to have an impact with directly. I think it's much more administrators and coaches and people who oversee younger kids playing the game. That's when you start getting into questions as to whether or not you should have tackle football at a certain age or wait until you get to high school. But football definitely needs to take a close look at it.
Mark, there are very few players, if any, that are saying, because of what happened to Tony Dorsett or others, I'm going to quit football.
I think all the younger players in pro football will now quit the game and get office jobs using their college degrees and become big earners. Come on, these guys can't do anything but play football, 80% of them. What else are they going to do? I feel bad for guys like Dorsett because they didn't know all the risks back then of playing through concussions and piling up those head injuries. But these guys now, if you're worried about the risk, don't play. If you get hurt, don't expect me to feel sorry for you. Not one bit.
Rob Rossi.
It's the very issue of our time in professional sports and in amateur sports. This concussion issue is not going away. I have a cousin who walked away from college football because he had his second concussion within a couple of years, said he just didn't want to be one of those guys who didn't know what was going on when he was raising his kids. I think it is having an impact at the younger level. If you look at Pop Warner numbers, they are down. I don't know if you're going to have NFL players quitting because of this, but parents are paying attention. This isn't going away. If anything's going to ever impact the NFL greatly in terms of taking it back to the pack in terms of all the other sports, it's going to be the fact that deep down people are starting to wonder if the sport itself is safe.
I think that's, I agree with that. Thank you very much, Rob. Coming up, we're going to talk about the issue of bullying in the NFL. What kind of impact will the Incognito Martin bullying case have on the culture of an NFL locker room, or any locker room for that matter? I don't think culture in NFL locker room will change from Incognito Martin. Most deny that at their team, set in ways or denial. That's from Mark Rogers 29. Thanks for the tweet. Back in a moment.